In this video, we'll be learning how to read, store, and display struct data from a file with dynamic line count. In the previous video, what we did was we read the content from the file, and for each line, we displayed it right on the spot and then, overwritten that line. So by the time we were reading line 2, line 1 would be replaced with line 2 information. However, in this video, we want to store that data that we read from the file in case your program needs such information. So I'll show you what changes you need to do, but even if you haven't watched the previous video, you should still be able to write this program because we do change existing code and add on to it. So the first thing that we've done is we've defined a structure that's got 3 fields, first name, last name, and age, and the structure that we can refer to with the alias name person. We then also have a function to display our person in the format of first name, last name, comma, and then age. Now, the first thing that we've done last week was we defined a person structure to store information temporarily while reading. So that's going to be our first edit. Our first edit is to get rid of that, is to create a fixed array, a fixed size array for storing people. So instead of P, I'll just call this people, and we'll initially give it 100 records. The array people 100 is used to store up to 100 records, but you can adjust the size as needed. We also need another variable to keep track of the number of records that we've successfully read from the file. For example, this file has only 10 records, whereas the capacity of the array can hold up to 100 records. So when we want to read that information that we've read from the file into the array, we don't want to loop 100 times when we only need to loop 10 times so that we can only read the information in the field indices of the array. So we create a variable called size and we give it the value of 0 because we still haven't got any records read into our array. Now, the second step that we've done was we've opened the file for reading. Next, we open the file for reading, the file people.txt, which is sitting in the same directory as this main.c file in reading mode. And if the file has opened successfully, this is not going to happen. But if there was any problem with the file, like it couldn't, it wasn't there, or there's permission issues, then that pointer is going to point to null. But in that case, we will exit with an error message. Now, in the third step, what we done was we read data from the file. So that's going to change into reading data from the file into the array. So I get rid of that. Now, initially what we had was a while loop that read the data into our person temporary structure. And then we displayed that on the spot. So this part is gonna change. So I'm gonna take that line and put it somewhere here. We'll need it. I'm also going to take that line, which we will also reuse or recycle. Okay, so what we're doing is using scanf, reading from the file, 2 strings and an integer. Now, instead of P, we're going to people and at that index, which is size. And for the last name as well, and for the age. Now, as long as we've got 3 fields read per line, we keep looping. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we want to increment the count of stored records. So we will increment size by 1. As soon as we went into the loop, it means there were 3 fields on that line. That means there's actually a line or a record to read from. The thing is, we need to check if ever that size goes more than 100, because that's going to be a problem if we try to store into an index that does not exist. So we want to check, and if there is a problem, we will display a message to the user saying the maximum storage limit reached. And let's put a new line there. And then we want to break at this point. So if the array limit, 100 in this case, is reached, the loop exits with a warning. It's 100 because we set it as 100 here. That's the capacity of our array. The fourth step is we close the file. That part remains the same. And the last part is we want to display the stored information. So once all the data is read, a simple for loop display the stored record using display function. So the first thing that we want to do is telling the user what's happening. So stored data. Okay. And then we will declare I and then initialize it inside the for loop to 0. I is less than size. So size is going to be, say I've got 10. So we want to stop at 10, but because we start with, so it's going to go from 0 to 9. That's 10 elements. At this point, I've got 10 elements in my file. However, that can change, but we can go up to 100. When we display the person, we want to make sure that we are reading from the array at that index I. And then, of course, we exit successfully. Let's compile, make sure I haven't got any errors, and let's run the program to make sure that it actually read the data from the array. So this data is being stored into the array, and we are only reading it from the array itself. That completes our program for reading data from file, storing it into an array, and displaying the struct data from file with dynamic line count. Should be from an array, but you get the idea. I hope this video was helpful, but yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.